We've got a major update on Elon Musk's corrupt scheme to hand out million-dollar checks to people in the state of Wisconsin in an effort to persuade people into voting in Tuesday's state Supreme Court election. One of the winners, as you can see in this photo here, is a young man named Nicholas Jacobs. Now, I thought it would be fun to take a little deep dive and see who this totally random, lucky winner actually was. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Nicholas Jacobs, a student at the University of Wisconsin River Falls, is listed as the chairman of Wisconsin's College Republicans chapter. According to his LinkedIn account, Jacobs worked for the campaigns of U.S. Senator Ron Johnson and Representative Derek Van Orden. In the fall of 2024, he worked as a ballot chase representative for Turning Point Action, which began as a youth-focused group active on college campuses, but has expanded its voter outreach operations, especially in Wisconsin. In other words, this kid is deeply embedded in Republican politics. He literally worked for Republican officials. So look, it would be bad enough unto itself that Elon was virtually just bribing voters in Wisconsin, and we'll get to the legality of what he's doing in just a moment, but even his corruption is corrupt, because it's not just bribery, it's also favoritism under the guise of a random winner. This is like if a guy picking out the lottery balls just so happened to choose the numbers belonging to another guy who works in the office just down the hall. Now, I want to make sure that every single Republican hears me when I say this. People like Elon Musk do not care about you. Even when you think he's rigging the system in your favor, you should know that he is not. Regular people do not win in a system propped up by billionaires. Their friends do, their donors do, their operatives do. But the losers in all of this are the people gullible enough to believe that you've still got a shot. If anything, Musk is making sure that the system is so rigged against you that even what little chance you did have will be gone. Now, as for the legality of this scheme, you don't have to look further than what Elon Musk himself did. Musk first took to Twitter with this tweet. On Sunday night, I will give a talk in Wisconsin. Entrance is limited to those who have voted in the Supreme Court election. We'll also personally hand over 2 checks for $1 million each in appreciation for you taking the time to vote. This is super important. Now, in the immediate aftermath of Musk announcing his payout scheme, the Wisconsin Democrats released a statement accusing Musk of committing a, quote, blatant felony. And so right after that was released, Musk then deleted his initial tweet, posting this one instead. On Sunday night, I will give a talk in Wisconsin. To clarify a previous post, entrance is limited to those who have signed the petition in opposition to activist judges. We'll also hand over a check for $1 million to 2 people to be spokesmen for the petition. Now, I'm not saying that this is a tacit admission of wrongdoing or illegality by Musk. I'm just saying that the world's most stubborn person probably doesn't delete things and concede defeat unless it poses just a little bit of a legal problem for him. I asked attorney Mark Elias about the legality of Musk's move. Here's what he had to say. Is it legal to hand out lump sums, payments to voters in exchange for their participation in an election?
All right. So look, before we get to the pure legal question, I think we can't lose the forest from the trees. How absolutely abnormal it is.
Yeah.
Like how absolutely crazy that we are having to record a video and explain to people that it is wrong for a billionaire, the richest person in the world, I think still, to be in a state Supreme Court race, holding an event in which he is going to hand out $1 million payments to people who have voted. Brian, this is nuts.
Yeah.
This is absolutely corrosive to democracy.
It's dystopian.
It's dystopian, right? It is dystopian. It is so far, you and I often talk about these things, and you ask about the shifting of the Overton window.
Right.
Several years ago, I can't remember whether it was the first Obama election or the second Obama election, the right wing got very angry. Wait for it. The right wing got very angry with Starbucks because Starbucks said they would give a free cup of coffee to people who showed up with an I voted sticker. Yeah. And the right wing was convinced that Starbucks was in the bag for Obama because it was a coffee house.
In retrospect, what I realize now is Starbucks shouldn't have handed out coffee. They should have handed out $1 million checks to people. And then the right-wingers would have been completely fine with it.
Right. And so Starbucks had to essentially, as I recall, walk it back and be like, oh, we are, anyone can come in that day and get a cup of coffee. We're not trying to buy voting. And here we are now on the eve of a state Supreme Court election in the state of Wisconsin. And the richest man in the world is doing this. Now, to your question about the law, the federal vote buying statute doesn't apply because this relates to state law, but every state has laws like this. And in Wisconsin, they have a law that makes it a crime to offer anything of value to a voter to induce them to vote or refrain from voting. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether you're voting for a candidate or not. You cannot make a payment to induce someone to vote or refrain from voting. So the question here is, does that inducement statute also cover rewards after the fact? Well, I mean, I'm not an expert, particularly in this statute, but I think common sense says it probably does. And here's why. Because voting is still going on, right? So it is an inducement to people to vote because they can then vote and then come to this event.
Right.
And so do I think it's illegal under Wisconsin law? I suspect it is. I think it will be certainly looked at. But whether it is criminally prosecuted or not criminally prosecuted there, it is, as you say, it is completely dystopian.
But frankly, at the end of the day, Musk doesn't care if what he's doing is illegal because he knows full well that by the time it's actually litigated, he will have already gotten what he wants if he's successful, for example, in helping elect Brad Schimmel. And let's be clear, what he wants is a Republican court in place that will not lift a finger to regulate him or his businesses, as Susan Crawford, the liberal candidate for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, explains here.
Elon Musk's company Tesla has a case that's working its way through the court system in Wisconsin. One that, so there's maybe a financial stake in this for Elon Musk. That's one explanation.
Again, my message to Americans remains the same. Elon may frame himself as some benevolent patriot who's looking out for you. He's looking out for himself. Everything he's done in government thus far has redounded first and foremost to his own benefit. Every single agency that he's gutted was an agency investigating or regulating or fining him or Tesla or SpaceX or Starlink. The greatest con in America right now is the richest man in the world convincing the working class, the kinds of people that Elon Musk has stepped over to make his fortune, that he's looking out for them, when in reality, every single action he's taken will only serve to enrich him and him alone further. Do not listen to what Elon says, watch what he does. And finally, the most important point of all, if you know anyone in Wisconsin, now is when we need you to do the hard work of reaching out to those people and making sure they have a plan to vote. Every single person matters. So if you're mad about Medicaid or food stamps or veteran firings or cancer research being defunded, if you're mad that the market is tanking and your 401k is plummeting and the economy is set to contract and a recession is on the horizon, if you're mad that the only thing this administration is spending its time on, despite promises that Trump would lower costs on day one, is trying to invade Greenland and Canada and Panama, if you are mad that the richest man in the world thinks that he can straight up buy our entire democracy out from underneath us, then this is your outlet. This is how you fight back. Wisconsin is the whole ballgame right now, but it's on all of us to play a role. We have less than 24 hours here to vote. Let's win the momentum as we head into midterms and fight to take this country back. Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.